ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। Welcome to the show, Phil. How are you this morning?
Sat Sri Akal, and good morning. Nice to be with you on Spice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for being here with us on time. Phil, tell us more about what is happening in your electorate and what is happening with most important matter for the migrant community, the immigration matters.
Sure. Yeah. Look, I'm the MP for the Tiasatu electorate in West Auckland. I'm really blessed to be a Labor MP in West Auckland. It's a wonderful community, and your listeners, your audience will know that it's like a lot of places in Auckland. It's highly ethnically diverse. So many people for so long who have come to New Zealand to make a new life have ended up in the neighbourhoods of West Auckland, and many of them are my constituents. And it makes the work of being a local MP hugely pleasurable and enriching. And we have a very big and fast-growing Indian community, people who've come from all over the diaspora and all over different parts of South Asia, including very significant Punjabi and Sikh community.
Yes.
So, I've been, your listeners will know that Labor lost the election last year. And so this year is a very important part of the political cycle for us. We're rethinking, we're planning for the future and reconnecting with the community. And I've been, every weekend this year, I've been out with a team of volunteers door knocking, actually going door to door, pick a street, pick a neighborhood, and we literally go door to door, knock on the door Saturday morning, and we talk to people about how their life is going, what their dreams and hopes are, and what they want from Labor going forward. And so that's been very, very interesting. And the two really big issues that have come out of those conversations, one has been cost of living. Really, everywhere we go, whoever we talk to, they rate cost of living as the number one issue. People are struggling financially, and it hasn't got any easier. And for people, particularly small business owners, tradies, people who are out there hustling for work, they found it very tough because the economy has gone down this year. And we can talk about the reasons for that. But there's in a lot of different industries, take construction, for example, there's just not much work around. And that affects all sorts of different businesses that flows on. So cost of living is very, very tough. And then the other one, interestingly, an issue that I think hurt Labor in the election last year is the issue of public safety, of crime, of law and order. And people are still feeling that the situation has not improved, and they are still feeling they want politicians, they want the government and our elected leaders to really get to grips with this issue and do something about it. They want to feel safe in their communities. And from a political perspective, my view, Parminder, is that these issues are quite difficult and quite tough to fix. They're complex and deep-rooted. It's very easy for politicians to go with "let's get tough on criminals" as a soundbite, but behind that, you've got to have evidence-based policies to reduce offending and tackle the causes of crime, the drivers of crime. And the current government, they campaigned with slogans, really, about getting tough on criminals, and they haven't been able to, in the time they've been in government, which is coming up to a year soon, they really haven't been able to get to grips with it, and that's why I think.
But in the meantime, I had Sunny Kaushal with me yesterday from Ministerial Advisory Group, who's actually leading from the front. And obviously, the government actually always trying to present the CBD stats from last few months because of the presence of the police, obviously. But as you mentioned, as you indicated, I think we need some strict law about the youth offenders or maybe the repeated offenders.
Well, look, we've got to hold people accountable when they offend. No matter what their age. The question is, what's the appropriate way to do that? And I think that that's really important, that the courts and the police can do their job. And I think also we've got to have programs that, the spike in youth crime that we saw, for instance, that was really affecting a lot of the retailers,
Yeah.
including out my way in West Auckland. That was a tiny group of young people, very, very small group of young people from the worst, most alienated families that had multiple problems, incarceration, mental health, drug abuse, you name it.
Yeah.
And we have to find ways to deal with those high frequency offenders. And I think, to be honest, our government actually did quite a lot in terms of putting in place multi-agency programs, including the police, that would tackle those high risk, high offending families
Okay.
and try to reduce the offending. So anyway,
And in the meantime, Phil,
Hmm.
the most of the migrants, they always want their families to be here, especially the parents category. And
Yes.
I know this matter is very close to your heart. So say something to our migrant community about the parents to be here.
Yeah. So, Parminder, I thought that in the election campaign, one of the really positive things was that both the major parties, Labor and National,
Hmm.
recognised that the desire of former migrants who live in New Zealand to bring their mum and dad to New Zealand to be with them, often to help to raise the grandchildren and to build a
Yes,
family here. That's a powerful, powerful desire, and we should completely understand the strength of feeling. And so both the parties promised a multi-year parent
yeah.
visa that would make it much easier. And I've questioned the minister, Erica Stanford, twice now in select committee and once in question time about this.
Okay.
And she said the national government, they're not even going to start work on this new parent visa until sometime next year.
Oh,
And I know that that's been a crushing disappointment for so many people in the migrant communities who had high hopes that we would see some prompt action and delivery, because it was such a high profile promise in the election
yes.
campaign.
Yeah.
And I've had people come to my office who are desperate to take advantage of this new visa, to
Yes.
have their mother or father or both here in New Zealand with the family, and they're gutted, absolutely gutted, that it's been pushed really to the back burner, because it will take quite a lot of time to do the work on setting the visa up. So if they're not going to
That's right.
start until next year, who knows when we'll actually see a new visa.
Yeah. Looking at your portfolios on the screen, I would love to ask you what is going on inside the parliament and outside the parliament.
Yeah, so other than immigration, which I love Parminder as a responsibility, because it's one of those portfolios that it touches every community in New Zealand. It
Yes.
speaks to our sense of national identity, because immigration is so important in shaping who we are as a nation.
Yeah.
It's very important for economic policy, and I'm absolutely committed to the idea that we are a migrant nation, and we must manage our immigration in a way that gets the best results for New Zealand and our economy, but treats people with dignity and respect, and
Yeah.
um, and does the best thing by our people. So that's immigration. I'm also the Associate Foreign Affairs Spokesperson, and I work with David Parker on foreign affairs. The two really big issues this year have been, one is the war and humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Yes. Yes.
It's probably one of the dominant foreign policy issues worldwide this
Mm.
year. And we've been pushing, Labor's been really trying to push the New Zealand government to take a stronger humanitarian stance,
Yes.
demanding a ceasefire, but also at a political level, supporting the desire of the Palestinian people to have independence, to have their own state, to be recognised by the international community, and to
Yeah.
really to get a new Middle East peace process going, so there can be a negotiated settlement. We want Jews, Palestinians, everybody in the region to be able to live in peace and security with equal rights under the law.
Well said.
Um, so that's that.
Yeah.
And then the other big foreign policy issue is this question about whether New Zealand should join AUKUS, the US, UK, Australia military alliance, which has been designed by those countries really as a way of countering the growing influence of China in East Asia and the Western Pacific and in our part of the world. Labor's not keen on that idea. We don't think the government has made the case. We favour a more independent approach, friends to all, enemies to none, and we think that the world is moving quite quickly from being having one global superpower, the US, to multiple great powers.
Lucky you talk about the foreign policy at this stage as you are sitting in the opposition benches. Last but not least, tell me very honestly, will you scrap the increase of fees for different visas which has been implemented on 1st of October?
So I can't give that undertaking now, Paminda. We will, as we get closer to the next election, we'll be working through our policy program, including on a wide range of immigration issues. I'm very well aware that the substantial increases in visa fees, that is a big cost to migrants. And the general principle that the immigration system should be self-funding, should pay for itself, is one I think most Kiwis would sign up to, would support. But there's a question about whether or not these recent increases go too far.
That's right.
They're more than what's needed to fund the system. And so we would need to take a close look at that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So Indian festival Diwali is just around the corner. And I wish you all the best because there's a few Diwali functions in your electorate as well.
I'm Diwali is one of my favorite festivals of the year, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. You have a good day, Phil.
Thank you.
Keep up good work.
You too.
Thank
you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. दोस्तों ये सन फिल ट्राफर्ड ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਲੇਬਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਪੋਕਸਪਰਸਨ ਨੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਟਿੱਪਣੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਫੀਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਧੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਆਖਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ 'ਚ ਲੇਬਰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜੇ ਸੱਤਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਫੀਸਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਘਟਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਅੱਜ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ